Just check it out for yourself. Follow me.
What's up, guys? I know we're running a little bit behind tonight. I was having some technical difficulties, but we are live. We are here. I hope everyone is having a great week so far. And we are going to just hang out for a few minutes. I'm actually really excited about this episode, mainly just because of what's coming. And I understand that he just recently did the Talking Beards last week. And just so Aaron and Scott know is I'm still prettier and I don't wear matching shorts. But hey, that's besides the point. So we're going to go ahead and just jump straight in with our fun beard fact. And it's actually going to tie to our guest tonight. So I am rather excited to talk about this. So during the late 40s and 50s, a all-star athlete from Syracuse named Hank Wolek made headlines throughout that entire time about the work that he would do and the sports that he would play, but also the fact that he would sponsor local Syracuse or Salt City sports and give back to the community. And in 1953, Hank Wolek created the Hank's Mustache Club, a mustache growing contest popular enough to receive a lot of press from New York and other different areas of the country. The tag reads, and you can actually find this on mustacheparlor.com, which is our guest's website to talk about the competition and about his products that he makes. And we'll get into that as we go. But the quote from the article is, braving threats of atomic rain and youth with razor blades, Hank Wolek and his pals trailblazed beard and mustache culture for close to a decade at Hank's Cafe on Marcellus Street in Syracuse, New York. The contest was held at Hank's Cafe in downtown Syracuse. The event was popular and covered the Syracuse Post-Standard journalists quite often. What's up, Yukon? As per tradition, men grew their mustache and beards during Lent, and then after the contest, they were rewarded at the end of Lent with a clam bake. Now, April 8th of 2023 will mark the 70th anniversary of the original event in 1953. This event has not been run again since the 1960s when Hank's Cafe closed down. And bearded men from all around the country, some around the world, are going to make this appearance. So if you guys can get there, I would definitely do it. But without further ado, I do want to bring on our esteemed guest tonight. He is Hank Wolek's grandson, Mr. Ron Wolek.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Cutting in and out there a little bit.
I said, how you guys doing? We're coming here to West Palm Beach at the Palm Beach Opera. I'm also from Syracuse, and it's got some family connections too, believe it or not. And I'm Hank's grandson.
So, Rod, I know you guys have been really busy. You've been down there at the Opera House. You were telling me about this earlier. So I'm glad that you were able to take some time out to join us tonight. And I know that Aaron and Scott gave you a message to give to me, but I'm still prettier. Just going to put that out there.
Yeah. Well, they've got some money on us, so we do have to say that. These days, Steve.
So what you're saying is you can be bought.
They were good enough to be on stage. But this is a pretty hard decision to make. I think that this would be a three-way tie.
So too.
There would have to be
There
would have to be some kind of beard challenge in order to determine who was the prettiest.
Yes.
All right, throwing down the gauntlet. You guys heard it.
Yeah.
Aaron, Scott, challenging you to see who's prettier. So
yeah, the winner gets a big badass mirror.
There we go. Just be able to look back and feel a little pretty that way. So, once again, man, I really do thank you for taking the time out Both of you guys I know have been busy, and like I said, I hope that was an introduction befitting Hank himself. I did a lot of digging into this and to get into the story and understand the background and the backstory behind everything is quite astonishing. And I guess that's would really be kind of the first inclination of what a beard club would be, what
Yeah,
we're used to now.
I I think so. It was very much close to having the mod a little bit, and it kept uh, that those guys kept together, kept stuff throughout the year. Kind of the spirit of right? For clams and for beer.
Yeah. So, and that's one of the things that really kind of struck a chord was uh, being in the 50s. Like eh, beards and mustaches were not as commonplace, and to see something kind of grow out of that, and to know that just the differences between what it was in the 50s and the 60s to what it is now is kind of mind-boggling. And the fact that this is the 70th anniversary and we're doing it on the traditional date of the inaugural comp is actually, to me, that's another cool thing to tie into the history, and as well as what where we're going to be doing the competition at. What's up, chicken wing?
Yeah,
Got people popping in now.
we're actually good and bars that Hank Wolek would have hanged out with. Uh, Hank's Cafe is no longer around, unfortunately, but the Syracuse Polish Home is, and the building is over 100 years old. Was built in 19, I believe, just before World War One, so maybe 1914-ish, 1905 perhaps. Um, I'm not for sure, but it was the intention of it was supposed to be kind of like a community YMCA. So it's got a bowling alley in the basement and sponsored a lot of sports teams. That's where my grandfather definitely bowled and practiced, and was a big part of the immigrant community in Syracuse. And it's open to anybody. You don't have to be Polish to become a member of the Polish Home. So the bowling alley was, and the building needs some repair. Also, the bowling alley too. During COVID, it wasn't being used, so when old machinery isn't in constant use, it can stop working. There's not many Brunswick bowling alleys left. So parts and just finding someone to repair it has been kind of a challenge. So in the spirit of my grandfather's festival beard contest, we wanted to celebrate the 70th anniversary. This would be my fourth contest that I've organized. I do a couple in Key West every year, every October. And we wanted the cause to be relatable, and it also turned out to be a great venue to host the contest too. So you really have the spirit of the original members in this building. All of them were members of the Syracuse Polish Home, to my knowledge, and would have drank and hung out and grew their mustaches and talked about whose mustache was better, all in the same place that we're going to have the contest at.
So I gotta like, besides the fact that it's the 70th anniversary, what really kind of drove you to come back and be involved? I know you live in Florida now, and you do, like you said, you do competitions down there. Like, was it just in the spirit of getting back to your grandfather, or was it more you wanted to do something to help Syracuse?
We wanted to do both, you know, and also locally in Syracuse. Even though I've grown up half my life in Florida. Oh, that's the Rolling Stones. That means somebody's trying to get a hold of me. And they can't. But anyways, so yeah, it was the connection of Syracuse. I did. I was born there on Onondaga Hill, and I moved to Florida. And when my mother got a great job at Disney World, and Steve actually went to beauty school with my grandmother. Yeah. And it's kind of funny how we ended up working together too, and how how it's all connected. And I got to meet with Steve last year, and we kept talking a lot about Syracuse in general, and you know, and then you know what? Steve started growing a beard, and so I think that I was really nostalgic for my hometown, coming to get to work and meet with Steve, and I was starting to talk to people about. I went to the National Beard competition in Wyoming last year in November. And I had a little booth there for mustacheparlor.com, which is a fake mustache store. And I had a little slip about my grandfather's history of the club to kind of explain how the inspiration for the mustacheparlor.com was my grandfather's mustache club, which I started that around 2011 when mustaches kind of were really becoming a thing again with Movember and so forth. And I realized then that the 70th anniversary was next year. And I had met Aaron from Honest Amish through that. And I talked to him. I said, you know, this is kind of what I was thinking. And we talked about it. We've been planning this since immediately after the Nationals in November. And for one thing after another, it turned out me and Aaron have a close, good friend that I grew up with in Syracuse. And all of these ties came together. And that's basically my grandfather liked to do a lot of cool shit from what I can gather. He just didn't really care about the consequences and went out and took life, you know, by the horns and made it happen. And I'm sort of the same way. I never actually got to meet my grandfather, but he died in 1979. I was born in 82. And I know I've got the same spirit. So we called up the Syracuse Polish Home actually to be the beneficiary, and then we were going to try to find another venue. And they loved the idea about hosting the contest there at the Syracuse Polish Home, and one thing fell after another, and all of the dates were available at the same time of when the contest happened, and that's where we are now. Now we're going to have it, and it's in 2 weeks on April 8th.
I'm excited. I've been
That train
ever since Aaron first approached me about coming up to judge. Like I started kind of diving into it and trying to do my own research and find out, and fell in love with the concept behind this competition and the history that comes along with it. By the way, Steve, looks like you have somebody that appreciates that white beard that you were talking about looking like Father Time. So
Good.
Yeah, you know, people stop Steve in restaurants and tell him how good looking his beard is.
They wanted me to
it
play.
really
Santa
is a good beard.
What?
It's a good beard. You should play Santa Claus.
Well,
Yeah.
they asked me to, and I said no. Maybe next year.
This
Get a little
beard is
more
quite
length on
new. It's I'd say what, 6 months?
6 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And it's white.
And but yeah, and also what's important is that Syracuse is actually really accessible by the Amtrak train, so you can get there from Manhattan or as far from Detroit or Chicago. And we've been able to secure some great hotel room rates for beard competitors who want to come down to Syracuse and compete in this kind of a once in a lifetime contest to celebrate the 70th anniversary.
So I know that we're not doing a clam bake, but you have other things in mind. You guys have a banquet that's going to be going on.
Yeah. So if you joined my grandfather's contest and you were you paid your dues into the Mustache Club, you received a clam bake the week following after when the contest happened. What we're going to do is the same thing to honor that tradition. Is there'll be a banquet in the Polish banquet hall, and that's when we're going to have our awards ceremony. So the judging will happen prior to the banquet, and then there'll be banquet style seats with big round tables, and we're going to give the trophies away on the stage, and we'll have a cool DJ and some good Polish music. And there's also two bars in this building. There's one that's going to be where our competitor lounge is, which is like a legit 20s style bar. And then downstairs is the secret Polish bar. So,
Okay.
do you know
Well,
those?
if there's one thing I know, that we like to drink when we all get together anyway. So that's gonna be perfect. So
Hey, we've got a great local sponsor that used to be. Everything is falling into place with this contest. The Beard Stout Brewery used to be across the street from the Polish home, but they has since taken over a building that used to be a bowling alley in Liverpool, New York, which is really the next town over. And they're going to be hosting the Friday night kind of like social get together, and they've got great beer for beard people. Plus, there'll be the Polish beer there. It's the Polish home, so they've got Polish beer on tap. And very popular brewery, Middle Ages brewery from Syracuse, New York, will also be on tap there.
So I'm driving up. I am driving up from Kentucky. Me and my wife, and we have a friend coming with us as well, out of Indiana. So it's gonna be. I'm gonna have to get there early. So we're gonna have to leave pretty early in the day or early in the morning to make sure we can get there for the meet and greet on Friday night. So
yeah, which I believe that's going to be about 7:00. But we're not planning on leaving. We'll be there all night.
We're gonna find people just asleep in the brewery somewhere. Just
That's a good party, though.
It's always a good party if you wake up the next morning and not know where you are. So
yeah. Do you think hangover is a good routine for a beard competition?
that sounds like a question that should have been on Bantering Beards last night. I have been blessed enough to not have to suffer a hangover the night before a beard competition, or the night after, for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't imagine trying to go to a beard competition with a massive hangover. So,
well, I imagine like you'll be a little extra grizzled, and is a little extra grizzly. You being a judge, would you advise to be a little extra grizzly for a contest? Or do you want to be well groomed?
me personally, just because the way I do my style when I go across the stage as a competitor is I prefer to be a little more groomed. Like I dress in a dapper style, which you'll see at the competition, because just because I'm not competing doesn't mean I'm not gonna dress up for the occasion. But I prefer more of a groomed, I don't really mind the grizzly. Like, it depends on what, what the category is. But for my category, which is full beard styled stash, I want to see the beard kind of, well taken care of and the mustache up. So, which I know that you were bragging about my mustache on Aaron and Scott's show. You were doting on me.
Well, to be critical of my own facial hair, I'm a little weak in the mustache department. I wish I had a big thick one like you do. Like, your mustache is very prominent, stands out from your beard, but also doesn't distract from your beard. Right? Those are good qualities to have.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's down right now. I didn't have time to put it up today before the show, but it's I work during the day. I'm out constantly on the road. I do beverage sales, and so sometimes I'll go out with it up. Sometimes I just go out with it, just go out with just keeping the beard going. I need to start wearing it up more often, just because I get more compliments that way, and people are more likely to talk to me. But
have you ever been to Syracuse before? Is this your first time?
This will be my first time stopping in Syracuse. Me and my wife, back in October, took a trip up the Eastern Seaboard, and it was supposed to finish in Pittsburgh. We were supposed to go basically from Salem, Mass, to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for Monsters Ball, put on by Mad Viking, and we we were looking the day before we were leaving for Monsters Ball from Salem, and I looked and said, you know, Niagara Falls really isn't that far away from Pittsburgh. And so we agreed that we wanted to go to Niagara Falls. And so we split out of Boston at like 3 a.m. and hauled ass across the entire state of New York, which is a big state. If you've never been through New York, it's a big ass state.
Yes, it is.
A lot bigger than I thought it was. And we passed, I remember seeing the signs for Syracuse and whatnot. We passed by it, and I have a friend from Syracuse as well. And I wanted to stop, but we were such on a time crunch. So that is something that we will definitely do before we go back home, though, is after we leave from Hank Wolek's, as we are going back to Niagara Falls for a little bit and then heading back down. So,
Yeah, speaking of which, since this is Bearding Without Borders, I'm guessing there's some Canadian fans on this channel, right?
so I hope so. I'm still
Well-
trying to grow this channel. The concept behind the name was to take away from. So in our community, and I'm sure you've seen it enough, that everybody kind of gets hung up on which club you're with, and there's nothing wrong with that. I applaud the people that work in the clubs and that, you know, are dedicated, but I wanted to transcend and go past the club aspect. I wanted to talk to the people. So I don't care what club you belong with, you know, if you affiliate with this group or that group, it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that you're out there doing good. You're out there wanting to make your communities better, and overall the betterment of our community as a whole. So that's where the name Bearding Without Borders came from.
Well, speaking of Niagara Falls, I have a challenge for our Canadian friends across the border. I have 2 of your trophies. 2. And I dare our Canadian friends to come to our contest and take one of ours.
All right, so we need some Canadian friends. Aaron and Scott both say hi to Steve. I think we've got some friends up in the Canadian area. I don't know how many of them catch the show live, but the challenge has been laid,
The
guys.
challenge has been laid. I got 2 of your trophies. So
I'm hoping to
Quite,
make that trip next year. Make the trip up to Canada next year. So,
yeah. But Syracuse is a pretty fun place. It's wouldn't you say, Steve? You want to talk a little bit about it?
Well, I had fun. Hey, it's best to go to raise children. I do know that. It's a great place, but I hate the winters.
A lot of creativity.
Yeah, that would be the
comes
only
out
thing
of
that would
Syracuse.
suck.
What'd you say?
That would be the one thing that sucks for sure is the
the
winter
winters.
time in New York.
Yeah, so we'll be right there when spring is breaking.
Yes. You will not find me up there during the winter.
So, do you think it's going to be cold that weekend, or?
I don't.
We think that the weather will be pretty mild. They just had a
Yeah.
huge blizzard,
Yeah.
so I think that was the cap of their
The
winter.
last
And April is kind of
muddy.
muddy and rain. Yeah,
And rainy.
You know, you had to be a tough dude to survive
Yeah.
Syracuse.
You can't be a sissy.
Uh,
Not to live in that kind of weather.
And
No,
still
I'd
want
say
to get out
not.
and have fun.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd be trapped indoors. And
Well, the only thing that was going for it was basketball during the winters. That was
Yeah.
great. So we survived winter through basketball,
interesting.
Syracuse basketball.
I'm not really a big basketball. I live in Lexington, Kentucky, which is the home of UK basketball. But
Uh-huh.
and I don't know if those guys could play in the cold like that, though. So,
No.
so now, Steve, are you going to make the trip up for the contest?
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah,
I
he's
think
thinking
so.
about it.
Yeah.
Steve hasn't been back in
think you
Syracuse
should.
for quite a long time. So.
I haven't been back in 20 years.
Well, it sounds like a good time to go then.
Yeah, it's
So.
just too cold for me. I can't do that no more.
Yeah. Yeah, but Steve, a lot of hair and makeup, quality hair and makeup people came out of Syracuse,
Yes.
and Steve's one of them. World-class hairdresser. And did you have your own salon in Syracuse? What's
No,
your
I
backstory
worked.
there?
I worked at Armory Square with. It was called Priscilla's Beauty Salon. I worked there for a long time, and then I worked for Carmen Logan.
Did you do a lot of beards and mustaches in your day?
I didn't do any.
No, until you met me.
Until I met him.
Everybody in this opera's got a beard and mustache.
Yeah.
So we decide.
Yeah.
So talking about that, how did I know you said you said it was your grandmother that went to beauty school?
It was my mother.
Your mother. So did you just kind of follow in her footsteps to get into the industry?
Yeah.
Or?
Well, when my mom ended up becoming a hair and makeup designer for Disney World, and she was a department head manager there, and in her time, women weren't really thought of as makeup artists, believe it or not, especially with special effects. And my mom, kind of like my grandfather in that way, she got an interview with Disney, and she, wasn't going to let that stop her. So she used me kind of like as her guinea pig when they would make you take skill assessment tests to be able to do the special effects. And they really put the women through a lot more scrutiny than they did the men. And throughout the entire Hollywood hair and makeup industry. It's only really recently that you see recognition for women in special effects, or even given that chance. They were always only thought of as the hairdressers. And there's a lot of cool history about that too. For example, this is kind of a cool beard fact as well. In the Hollywood Hair and Makeup Union, the hairdressers and the makeup artists are considered separate crafts, but the makeup artist is totally in control of the beard and any hair that's has to do with the face. And that's because in the early days of special effects, before prosthetics and before a lot of blood and guts and building aliens, like that kind of stuff is really your cue card. But what special effects makeup artists hung their hat on in the early days, like the 20s and 30s, when the unions were starting to formulate and the hair and makeup craft as we know now became more professional, was how to make a beard. And specifically the same techniques that you use to, they call it hand laying a beard, where they would put the beard hair by hair on someone's face and then cut it and trim it and barber it so that it would look like a convincing beard. Nowadays, mostly we use actually full hair pieces that you would glue onto your face, a lot like what the Whiskerinas wear. And what was the dividing line is that same technique was the same technique you used to make werewolves. So that whole section of the head, even though it's kind of in theory and practice today, I believe belongs more in the hairdresser's wheelhouse, because it's more of a barbering fashion, is still a territory for the makeup artist. So the makeup artist also has to kind of today learn a lot of barbering techniques in order to work in film and television. So anything that is done to the face is done by the makeup artist and not the hairdresser. But throughout all of that, growing up next to Disney, I wanted to be an animator. That was my dream. And when I graduated high school, I think Toy Story 2 was just about to come out. It was very clear that traditional animation was over. I did go to school for graphic design and some animation, and I knew I was not at that. I said this on Talking Beards too. At that point, computers didn't talk to you. You couldn't. There was no Siri. It was the most boring thing to experience to be sitting in front of a computer. And I knew I just totally didn't fit in with the people that were inclined to do that. And at the same time, my sister, she decided to go into the military. And, I recognized that this was an opportunity. A lot of people would pay to learn underneath my mother. My mother was a very well-known hair and makeup artist in Florida and legendary Disney artist for the work that she did there. A lot of the stuff that she did became iconic hairstyles that people recognize today still. So and this is kind of where it's really kind of cool where Steve fits in. She had somebody working with her at the Orlando Opera, and she talked me into giving it a try. And I started out as a volunteer. I didn't even get paid. Steve at least got $50. And I knew right away then that it's what I want. I needed something where I could be creative and social, and I just felt like since it was a I would have been the third generation. My grandfather, my grandmother, and my mom worked so hard to get to where they were. It would have been really sad if nobody picked up the baton. So, sometimes just you got to let fate put you in the right motion. It's been a roller coaster ride ever since. I ended up moving to Los Angeles and working a lot in Hollywood and all over the world. It's brought me to Japan. I've learned so much when I was in Japan. And I've done a lot in Europe recently too. And now I'm here at the Palm Beach Opera with Steve, who's the hairdresser who knew my mother. And my mother, unfortunately, she passed in 2014. So she's no longer with us. And he's from Syracuse. We talk and joke about Syracuse all the time. Me and Steve, it's incredible how well we get along.
Yes.
It's almost, we never knew each other prior to that. You probably never thought you'd sit next to me.
Never.
You didn't even know I was around.
No.
And
especially going to school with his mother.
Yeah.
I went to school with his mother. He wasn't even born yet.
Yeah.
And then I bumped into him at Palm Beach Opera. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It is indeed a small world.
Yeah, very small world.
So Steve and I are the hair and makeup department at Palm Beach Opera. I'm the designer, and he supervises everybody. He's got everybody thinking that I'm the mean one.
But I'm the one. I'm the bitch.
So you said that you've done some work in Hollywood and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So have you ever done any with anybody famous or?
Yeah, I'm known for facial hair, specifically Santa Claus beards. I got to work with Ed Asner on his last Santa Claus movie, which is called Santa Stole My Dog. It's one of my favorite pieces that I've worked on. It's got a great message, and also so the dog. I talked to those on Talking Beards, but the dog was actually Ronald Reagan's last dog, and he was friends with the director and producer of this film. He found out that Ronald Reagan's dog was a really good actor. This dog was really talented. I've never seen an animal actor that took direction much better than
a human.
Much better than humans. And he did everything on cue. He had a series of 10 movies. He just recently passed away, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I've also got to work on the Stephen Colbert show in conjunction with their artists. I built pieces for them. And there was a sketch where Santa Claus has an evil brother named Atnas, and Bryan Cranston plays Santa Claus. You guys have got to look up this sketch. And anyway, in order to save the world, Santa Claus has to learn Kung Fu. That he goes as Kung Fu fight with Atnas. And
I think I've seen that
stuff. I got to work on The Walking Dead and Stranger Things recently. Those are my big credits. The Walt Disney World Christmas Parade is a special one for me because I got to work on that with my mother. My mother was the department head, and I got to supervise the second unit for a couple of years. For a while, I was the supervisor for Disneyland, the original Disneyland in California. And, my mother was one of the hair and makeup managers in Florida at the Magic Kingdom. So at one time, the Woleks were running the kingdoms on the east and the west coast. That was a cool beard project too, because I got access to all of the original kind of archives for the original attractions at Disneyland. Because when someone had a question, they could call us, and we were still the keepers of the original blueprints, so to speak, for all of the pirate beards and all of the cool stuff. Abraham Lincoln and Haunted Mansion too has pretty cool beards and mustaches, actually.
That's awesome. Walking Dead is one of my all-time favorite shows and comics. So, Hearing that you got to work with Walking Dead, that sounds like it was a really good one.
Yeah, and the episode I got to work on was directed by Greg Nicotero, which is he's also the one of the lead hair and makeup designers for The Walking Dead. Was the episodes that had to do with that giant satellite dish? I think that was season 7. Everybody seems to know about this really crazy giant satellite dish that somebody built in the middle of Georgia, maybe an hour from Atlanta. It took 2 weeks to film it, I think. And the government's since taken over, but he thought he could talk to aliens with this thing. And he never did. I don't know if he actually was able to finish in his life, but it's gigantic. It looks like something the Soviets built. And after he passed away, the government took it over, and it doesn't work, but it makes a great set for zombies. And inside the satellite dishes it was the episode where the people were just kind of affected with the virus, and they had to break in to get them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for a lot of those shows, I did stunt wigs for that. So I got to work with the stunt actors and make sure their wigs don't flop off when they're getting eaten by zombies or running away from supervillains or something like that.
See, that's it's actually that kind of stuff is intriguing to me, just because, the story that the actors are portraying is great, but the work that goes in behind the scenes with special effects, hair, makeup, that's a master craft right there that a lot of people don't realize.
And it matters because we talk about this all this time at Palm Beach Opera, me and Steve, in coaching our team. Just one person standing out, they could have the smallest role. For example, we have a little page boy in this play, right? And we had to really make sure even him looked like he was part of the period. Otherwise, it didn't look right. It could one person with a bad hairdo could make it look like a high school play. Yes. It could totally ruin the how do I want to put it? Like when you're watching a show, people pay a lot of money. What's your usual speech for that? And they want to be sucked into the story. They don't want to be going like, "Whoa, that beard's fake."
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. That really does. So
yeah.
I'm definitely ready to, and if you guys have not got a chance to check out mustacheparlor.com, he's got a whole catalog of beard and mustaches that he's done, that he puts up for sale. And I actually had a chance to kind of scroll through, and I was like, oh man, I really like the style of this. And to see somebody kind of going that route, especially with, opera and theater, it's really kind of cool to kind of get a bit of a glimpse on the inside. I've already sent your website to a couple of friends that work in the theater in Tennessee and Georgia and North Carolina, and be like, hey, you need to check these out. So,
well, Ron and Steve are available this summer.
I'll put the word out for you with some of my theater friends. So.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Facial hair character. He's called Falstaff. This is a pretty cool story. You want me to kind of talk about this opera for a second? It's how I want my life as a bearded man to kind of go. So anyway, Falstaff is in this bar, and he owes the bartender a lot of money, right? And so he tells his two flunkies, I've got a plan to pay off my drinking debt. I'm going to seduce the wealthiest women in town and get their husbands to pay for it. Anyway, the women catch up onto this, and the whole town plays a big joke on him, and the whole somebody dying, or jumping off a building, is the whole city dresses up like fairies of all things, and then they make fun of them. And that's the end, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
But Falstaff
what opera is this?
Character. Falstaff. He's a Shakespearean character. He's got he's probably the original friendly mustache.
Okay. I'll have to look into that. Just because that sounds interesting. Maybe my wife knows about that one. I'm sure she's listening in the other room already. So
it's definitely an opera if you're not a big opera fan. The first one you should go. It opens in Palm Beach on Friday and then it closes on Sunday. Palm Beach, Florida.
a little too far for me to get there right now. So
if you like boats and opera, it's a good weekend to be here.
It is.
well, just about any weekend in Florida is pretty good, unless it's hurricane season.
Did you remember how pretty Aaron and Scott's beards were? They were pretty.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hurtful. So, don't worry, I'll be looking good, and I'll be looking good in Syracuse. Don't worry about that. So,
Okay.
so going on to that, man. So I know that you kind of teased some of the trophies. We don't have any pictures, but I'm excited to see the final trophy for the competition. From what I got to see on Talking Beards, it looks awesome. Like the whole baseline of it.
It's the side of a barrel that looks like a keg with a large plaque with the 70th anniversary design on it. And it's going to
getting called out. It's only a partial beard, not a full beard. So just remember that.
That's true. Falstaff had a partial. Technically whiskers, I suppose. Friendly mustache. Yes.
But
We might be talking. He's really critical. I would be afraid if he was on stage.
all right, guys. So where can everybody find you on social media?
So Mustache Parlor, at Mustache Parlor on Instagram, Facebook. It's all on the website, mustacheparlor.com. All of the contest information is mustacheparlor.com/Syracuse. Steve doesn't appear on social media, I don't believe. No. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get to talk to Steve.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you coming on with us tonight, then.
Yeah. It's enjoyable.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys, like I said, if you guys get a chance, go check out the mustacheparlor.com. Take a look around. If you need more information about the contest going on, Hank Wolek's 70th anniversary beard and mustache competition, it is on the website, and they give you a lot of history to go into as well. That's where I cited all my information from tonight, besides what Ron willingly gave me in some background and some details. We do have some pictures that we'll post up as well from the competition, and you can also find those on the website. I'm excited to be there. It looks like I have a few people said that they're going to be making the appearance on Saturday for sure. What time are we starting on Saturday?
On Saturday, the doors are open for registration at noon. And then judging is going to start, I believe, at 2 or 3 p.m. And we expect that to be closed by 6. Now, if you want to be in the contest and you also want to be in the banquet, you can sign up and get the banquet at a discounted price. And it'll be a full buffet by Chef Tommy from the Syracuse Polish Home. And then the awards ceremony will start at 7. And then from 8 until 10 p.m., there'll be a big beard party. Maybe dancing, definitely drinking. Be a huge celebration done Polish style. And celebrate the 70th anniversary of Hank's Mustache Club. All the benefits to the Syracuse Polish Foundation's historic Brunswick bowling lanes, which is an important part of Syracuse history that we've got to get back up and running so we can train more bowling champions in the city of Syracuse.
Well, I'm excited to be a part of it. Thank you once again for allowing the time tonight, but also to come up there and judge at a historic event. I really do appreciate that.
And thank you so much for having us on our show. We really had fun talking about beards and bearding without borders.
Well, all right, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick you guys to the backstage for right now. I'm going to do the wrap up here, and then if you guys want to wait around, we can talk a little more after the show. So, all right, guys, that's going to be the show tonight. We are going to kind of jump straight in. In case you're wondering, I know some people are already aware. This is the Violet Rose from Boston Scully. Picked this up right around Valentine's Day. They may be doing a restock again here soon. But if you get on the website and you're looking around at the hats, code Bearded Rook for 15% off. This is by far one of my favorite hats that I've gotten so far from them, and I will definitely be probably wearing this at the Hank Wolek competition as well. Let's jump into our other sponsor that we just recently acquired. I don't have a code for them yet, but I am partnering with Death Grip, and if you guys have been paying attention to the competition that I am running on May the 20th, Death Grip has actually sponsored the mustache category for that competition as well. Big shout out to Levi for coming through and helping us out and just being an all-around stand-up person. If you guys have not checked out Death Grip Mustache Wax, I would recommend checking out his entire range of product as well, because he has mustache wax, he has hair pomade. It's always been, he's got some real high-quality stuff. And rumor has it there's going to be some balm to come out soon as well. So keep that in mind. Moving on in, of course, got to talk about the Speedo Walk. And it is still raising money for the Kentucky Lyme disease. Still trying to angle at that $5,000. Have not raised anything yet. Whoever donates the most or helps raise the most will get to choose which competition that I do the Speedo Walk at. And just for you, Fab said he would do it at 10,000. Don't let him lie to you. He did agree to it. But that is also going to be happening at the Bearding Without Borders competition going on in May. And if you want to check out all the events that are coming up on the calendar, go to thebeardcalendar.com, and it will keep you up to date. Going on, of course, this weekend, we've got Bearded Hero Endgame going on in Indiana. And if you guys haven't already left, there's some people I know that are getting ready to start traveling either tonight or early in the morning. Safe travels. I hope you guys have a great time. I unfortunately will not be able to make Bearded Hero in-game, but the Bearded Hero group has made this a big deal. There's a lot of cool things that's going to be happening as we spoke with Mr. Billy Breaker here in the last few weeks. Make sure you guys get a chance to get out there and have some fun. If you're on the West Coast, then you, of course, have Battleborn going on, and I know that there are several people that are already traveling out that direction. Safe travels to you guys as well. Battleborn was the one that I was going to attempt to make, me and Haley, but we unfortunately just wasn't in the cards this year. I will definitely be at Battleborn in 2024. Already marked on my calendar and already looking at plane tickets and everything for that time. So good luck with Patrick and Lori and the Sin City Beard Coalition. I am sure this competition is going to go splendidly. And to all our friends that are already out there, I hope you guys have a wonderful time. Moving forward, weekend of the April 1st, we have Hiram's Beard Club putting on Clash of the Bewhiskered. And it is going on in Plymouth, Indiana, the April 1st. I promise you it's not a joke. Mr. Keith Hammonds and Hiram's Beard Club have worked very hard and diligent, and they're going to, I think this competition is going to be super successful, and I'm excited to see what comes out of that. I may or may not be there. We'll just have to see what happens. Going from there, April 8th, the one that I know for sure I will be at is Hank Wolek's 70th anniversary Beard and Mustache Contest, as we were just speaking with Ron and Steve about. Going on in Syracuse, New York. If you guys can be there, I 100% expect this to be a spectacular contest. A lot of history, the place that we're doing it at the Polish Home is steeped in the history, of course, of Syracuse. And so if you're a history nut like I am, this is going to be a great place to be. And the contest is going to be great as well. Presented by Honest Amish. Sorry, I'm having a hard time speaking tonight. So that'll be for sure the next competition that you will see me at. Moving on from there, we have the Whisker Roundup going on April the 22nd in Leadington, Missouri, put on by Wicked Whiskers. Caveman Holby has done a great job marketing and promoting this competition. It looks like a great time, and I will be doing my best to be there for that one as well. Big shout out to Michael Holby, aka Caveman. He's done some great work to get this competition up and going, and he has done awesome with getting the word spread out. So if you can be there the weekend of the April 22nd, I would 100% recommend it. It's going to be a good time. Moving on towards the end of April, we have the Mid-Atlantic Beard and Stash Championship going on over in Richmond, Virginia, presented by Honest Amish, like most of these comps have. That one is going to be the last weekend in April, and it's going in there to benefit the Old Dominion firefighters. It's going to be a great time. It's always a great time when you go to Mid-Atlantic. I have not yet had a chance to make it, but I have seen pictures several times, and it is 100% on my list to do. So definitely get a chance, make it out that way. I know some people that are going to be there, and it's looking like it's going to shape up to be another great year for the Mid-Atlantic. Moving into May, we have Beardo de Mayo going on May 5th and 6th up in Ohio. I can't remember exactly where in Ohio. This is being put on by the Bearded Villains up in that area. They are, this is kind of an annual competition, and it looks like it's going to be a great time. We are going to do our best to be up there. Me and my wife, my friend Bearded Jake, of course, is part of that group, and it's going to be up north of Columbus, Ohio, but it looks like a good time. And then, of course, you have Bearding Without Borders, the competition going on in Harrodsburg, Kentucky on May the 20th. Registration will start at 2 p.m. and competition will start right around 3:30. This is at the Rockhaven Bourbon Bar, and it's presented, of course, by Honest Amish. Big shout out to Aaron and Honest Amish for helping us put this all together. Come out, it's going to be a good time. All the benefits are going to go to the Speedo run, the Speedo walk, plus the Kentucky Lyme Disease Association. It's going to be a good time. There's going to be a couple of big distilleries that are going to be there, a couple of breweries that are going to be there. They're going to be doing whiskey tastings, bourbon tastings, and beer tastings as well. It's going to be a whole day event with live music going on in the evening after we finish the competition. So if you guys can make it, I would love to see you. I will actually be starting to make a judges announcements in April, and I've got a great lineup for judges. I'm rather excited of the people that I was able to pull in for this. Moving forward from there, we have Talking Beards, the Club Competition Volume 3 going on May the 27th. It's an online competition, so you don't even have to leave the comfort of your own home. Of course, presented by Honest Amish. And it's going to be an FHL sanctioned event. Big shout out to Brett and FHL for helping us out with this one. I'm actually really excited for this. I am looking at competing for this one because I don't even have to leave the house. So that's definitely a big one. And maybe we'll go ahead and get Scott and Aaron on here to talk about Scott, Aaron, and Natalie on here to talk about it as the time gets a little bit closer. Going in from there at the end of May, going into June the 3rd, Appalachian Beard Fest Part 2, put on by Beard Mob West Virginia and the Bearded Centers Pennsylvania, presented by Mad Viking, which will be another FHL competition going on in Gent, West Virginia. I will definitely be there for this. I've already booked my room at the Skyline Lodge. Rather excited to come out there and have some fun. There's a lot of cool things to do around that area. They've got live music that's going to be going on, of course. as well. So it's a whole weekend of event. If you guys can make it out, I would 100% recommend it. And I'm excited. Big shout out to Chris Hall and all of Beard Mob West Virginia and the Bearded Centers for coming back this year and making it even better than last year. And that's hard to do. So the following weekend in Richmond, Kentucky, will be put on the Bluegrass Beard On, and it is done by Beard and Loathing. Big shout out to Beard and Loathing. It's such a great little club here in Kentucky that do a lot of stuff for the community. I'm happy that I can call those ladies and gentlemen friends, and I will definitely be there because it's only about 20 minutes from the house. So if you guys can make it out to Richmond, Kentucky on June the 10th, day before my birthday, so come out and spend my birthday competition with me. Be greatly appreciated, guys. Going into July, we have the Hoosier Beard Alliance with their charity bowling bash going on July the 15th. And I want to say that's Jasper, Indiana. Don't hold me to that. If Chris or Corey is in the live watching, they can always give me the correction on that one. It doesn't have the address on here, but that's going on July 15th. I'm definitely going to be there for this. Anything to help out with the Hoosiers, good friends, and to have some fun and do something that's not a beard comp and just raise money and go bowl. If you guys have never been bowling, it's a lot of fun. So, and then of course, going into August, we have Bearded Theater put on by Beard Mob Indiana. It's going to be in Columbus, Indiana at the Historic Theater there. Ron and the rest of Beard Mob Indiana have been working very diligently on this competition, and I'm rather excited to see the history that's going to be done at the competition with the theater. It's the first time they've done an event of this caliber, and it's going to be just a great time. If you guys have not made it out to a Beard Mob Indiana competition, they always put on a good time, and they definitely pull in a great crowd. Mr. Stash himself was the first time I met him was at Beard Mob Indiana's competition last year in Columbus, and it was a great time for that as well. But all right, guys, so that's going to wrap up what we have right now in our events. Any cleanup? If you guys know of any other events, please let me know. Definitely give me a shout or add it here to the comments. If there's anything that I'm missing, just let me know and we'll be more than happy to get it added. If you have any ideas for some guests and people that you'd like to see, I'm all about that as well. Other than that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for the night. Once again, thank you all for who have stuck with me and watched this episode. You guys are always a blessing. Thank you. And remember, always leave things better than how you found it, and always strive to leave a legacy. Thanks.